Ladies and gentlemen, my name is James Scaresbrook, otherwise known as the Intrepid Wino, and welcome after a bit of a hiatus to another episode of Let's Taste with the Intrepid Wino. I have been contacted by the lovely Brown family from All Saints Estate, which is in the Rutherglen region of North-Eastern Victoria, not too far from Albury, Wodonga. Very historic region, one of the oldest in Victoria, is considered to be probably the absolute best place for fortified wines in Australia, particularly their famous Tokais or Topacs as it's called now, and muskets. The All Saints family have been making wine for many years. And they have sent me some samples, which is very much appreciated and very humbling. And if you'd like to see your wines on Let's Taste with the Intrepid Wino, please do get in touch because I'm more than happy to look at samples. But these three wines are all from what I believe is the Family Cellar range of still wines, table wines. We are looking at two 2013 wines and one 2012 wine. All three are varieties which have quite a pedigree in the Rutherglen region. So let's start off with the Marsanne 2013. Marsanne is a Southern Rhone variety, white variety. Very typically you will find Marsanne blended with Roussanne and Viognier. Marsanne, of course, arguably one of Victoria's great underappreciated white varieties. You might have heard my episode of the Vincast with the CEO of Tabilk and owner Alistair Purbrick. Tabilk have a very famous Marsanne wine, and you will see a lot of Marsanne in that kind of northeastern Victoria, central Victorian area. So let's have a look at this wine. Lovely kind of grassy green apples, a little bit of citrus, sort of some lime and lemon rind. A little bit of floral. There's some interesting, what I think are possibly lees-derived elements. It has a little bit of creaminess, almost like a lemon curd. But a nice kind of ripe kind of green character. Some kind of like stylistically, aromatics remind me of Chardonnay almost, but without the oak. Let's taste. Nice and ripe, and the fruit character is consistent with the aromatics, possibly moving more into some orchard fruits, pear, apple. There's kind of like an almost candied citrus note to it. Like orange peel. It's very prominent on the mid palate. There's just a little bit of texture in there. Again, possibly lees-derived texture. There is some richness. It's very delicate viscosity to it, but it's still very fresh. This is a 13.5% alcohol white wine, so we are looking at a more structured, complex white wine. This is, very good example. Recommended retail is $35. I think if you're feeling a little bit adventurous with a variety that you might not have seen before, Marsanne, like this All Saints Family Cellar, is a very good example. Nice start. Let's move on. Now, I'm going to go with the younger red wine. Also, I think Shiraz is probably going to be lighter than the Durif. So, 2013 Shiraz. I'm probably just going to season my glass a little bit. Shiraz, Shiraz, I don't think there's a region in Victoria that doesn't have Shiraz planted. But, Rutherglen is a very outstanding producer of Shiraz, warm climate Shiraz. And that kind of warm climate is sort of showing in the fruit profile on the aromatics. We are looking at some darker fruits here, some black currant, blackberries, blueberries. There's a sort of a nice kind of crusty blueberry pie coming through. There is a very slight kind of floral herbal undercurrent there, but it's certainly not kind of presenting as cooler climate, more peppery spiciness. Let's taste. On the front palate, it presents as quite fresh and light, but then as it comes back across the palate, you do see a little bit more tannin coming through. There are those darker fruit characters which are kind of coupled with the tannins, and it is a more robust style. I wouldn't say it's very heavy. It's certainly not jammy. It is on the fresher side. It's a fuller expression, I think, but I think, considering it's coming from a warmer climate, I think that this is very well handled. I don't see a lot of barrel work in here. It's not showing sweetness necessarily, which you can sort of see, particularly when you're combining warm climate Shiraz with new oak and small oak barrels and American oak barrels in particular. I think there is some fruit sweetness, certainly, but it's not kind of juby and broad. And then maybe you've got some older barrels, some French oak in there. I think that this is quite a lovely expression for warmer climate, North-East Victoria, Shiraz. Yeah, it certainly has the blackness of fruit, which a lot of people do like. There's a little bit of kind of maybe a little bit of jamminess there, but more like kind of a spicy jam. No, I think that's going to please a lot of people. Recommended retail for $60. I think that's very reasonable. I guess it all comes down to what you like in Australian Shiraz. But if you like Shiraz that's a little bit fuller and darker in terms of fruit, but not heavy and not alcoholic. This is only coming in at 14.4. That's pretty average, I would say, for Australian Shiraz. If it's pushing up around 15 plus, that's going to get a little bit too difficult in the palate. Finally, let's have a look at the 2012 Durif, which also has a recommended retail of $62. Durif, which is also known as Petit Syrah, particularly in California, where it's very famous. Durif is probably like Rutherglen and Durif are just two names that most wine, old school wine lovers in particular, are so familiar with. My dad is a big fan of Rutherglen Durif. Durif is quite an inky, he tends to produce very inky wines, very dark, so I think it's probably a good idea to finish with this one. Slightly more brooding in terms of the fruit. Again, it's in that blacker realm, but we're moving more into cassis, sort of blood plum. It does have there's a sort of a little bit of an earthiness to it. Very, very deep, purple kind of fruits. Even sort of stewed plums, or like it's not, it sounds probably very silly, but red wine infused plums, that's just kind of dessert. Let's taste. Not as kind of intense as the Shiraz. The brooding kind of character comes through on the palate. It's a lot more mellow, which possibly is a vintage thing. Also, it might be the fact that it's a year older. It looks quite complete in the mouth. Very mellow, velvety kind of tannin structure, not as sort of tight as the Shiraz was. This is a little bit more broad on the palate. I think that Durif is significantly underappreciated grape variety, particularly in warmer climates. When I was traveling in Northern California, I saw quite a few really excellent Petit Syrah wines, and I think that there's no reason why people shouldn't be getting on board with Durif from warmer climates like Rutherglen, like the Barossa Valley, like maybe even the Swan Valley in just outside of Perth. I think that's possibly going to be a little bit tougher for people at $62, but I would say give it a try because you may just find that you actually like the expression of Durif. It has something a little bit different to offer compared to your Shiraz, your Cabernet, even your Grenache. But look, this has been a very interesting opportunity to taste these All Saints wines. And I do, of course, appreciate being sent them. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this Let's Taste episode. If you did enjoy it, please hit that like button and leave a comment below. Please subscribe to the Intrepid Wino YouTube channel so you can see all of my content as soon as it goes online. Come and visit me at intrepidwino.com, and why not get in contact with me. But until next time, cheers.